Hello, viewers. Good evening, and welcome to section 2 of the Mindshift Summit Day 3. We are glad to have you all back ready and in the waiting room, ready to dish out wisdom tonight. I believe you are set for her. Before we continue, as we all know, my name is Peter Akboboy, and I'm your favorite and the best when it comes to moderation.
Miss is Clara. Okay. With us is Clara Rufai, popularly known as the Shine Strategist, and she's here to ensure that we all shine tonight. So over to you, ma'am. We are glad to have you here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Precious. Thank you, everyone at the Mind Shift Summit. I seem to be having feedback. Okay. I think we're on now. I think it's good now. So thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here to share with delegates at this summit. And actually, when Precious reached out to me regarding this summit, I looked at the topic and I thought, what a brilliant idea. The Mind Shift Summit. I thought this because really, when you talk about success in any way, shape, or form, it all begins with the person, with the individual, and it all begins with the mind. So when I saw the topic for this discussion, the Mind Shift Summit, and I saw that the theme was repositioning African mentality for global relevance, those are powerful words. That's a powerful theme. I was very excited to be a part of this. So thank you once again for having me. I don't know if you've done the honors yet. If not, then I will just give a very brief, very brief intro about myself. My name is Clara Rufai. I'm popularly known as the Shine Strategist. I'm a corporate lawyer with many years, several decades of experience, but I also express myself in many different ways. I express myself as, of course, the Shine Strategist, a coach, a mentor. I express myself as, that person who creates platforms and avenues for people to shine and to show forth their brilliance. And this is simply because I believe that as human beings intentionally created by God, we all carry greatness inside of us. It's like a light that's on the inside of all of us. But life happens, right? The ups and downs of life happens. And sometimes we find that the light we're carrying on the inside of us is dimmed. So just imagine where you are supposed to show up in the world as a 100-watt bulb, and instead you are shining at half mast, at 45 watt, 50 watt, 60 watt. Whereas you are created to brighten everything around you, to show forth the light and the creativity and the beauty and the amazingness of, of God, of the one who gave you life. So this is why I'm passionate about, this subject. Whenever I'm called upon to talk about shining, I think of myself as the evangelist of the shine gospel. I think of myself like that because I truly, truly believe that every one of us has something that we carry, and that's something, whether it is your skill, it is your talent, it is your calling, whatever it is, that's something enables you or can enable you. If you hone it and you sharpen it and you nurture it, it can enable you to shine your brightest. It can get you recognized. It can get you, which are the things we're talking about. It can help you position yourself globally, and it can definitely help you gain more relevance. How do you even gain relevance? You gain relevance by being relevant. You gain relevance by adding value to somebody else. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we carry on. But I do believe that as human beings, for us to be fulfilled, for us to feel fulfilled and satisfied in life, it is so important for us to be adding value in some way to somebody. And this is why I always say that, no matter who you are, no matter how far, along your own shine journey you have traveled, there is somebody behind you that can always gain from your own experience. What do I mean by that? Imagine a student who just started secondary school. So maybe he's in Form 1. Of course, he can learn from somebody in Form 2 or Form 3 because the person in Form 2 or Form 3 has gone through the path that the new student is going to pass through. So for us, for most of us in life, that's how it is. I absolutely do not believe that anybody is by themselves a repository of all knowledge. No, but I believe that every coach has a coach, and every teacher has a teacher, and every mentor has a mentor or should have a mentor. For you to not be in that sort of relationship with somebody else that you can learn from, that you can leverage upon, means that there is, to me, it smacks of arrogance, and it means that you are closed to learning, and continuous learning, continuous if you like, interrelationship with with the value that other people carry around us is what causes us to grow, is what causes us to be relevant. Take myself, for instance, before I even go into the topic. Take myself, for instance. As I said, one of the things that I'm known for is that I'm that person that creates platforms and avenues for people to shine, because I feel like I'm fulfilling my calling. I feel like I'm fulfilling, I'm living up to my message when I give people the opportunity to shine. So in February 2020, for instance, just before, COVID-19 went on its global tour, I hosted a live conference. It was the first live conference, even though the Leap and Shine conference had held as a summit, an online summit for 3 years prior, but we needed to take things to a different level. So in February, I hosted a live event. And one of the things that came out of hosting that live event is that people do know when you are serving from a place of heart. People do know when you are serving them with your heart. People know when you're, just as there's a difference between positioning and posturing. Posturing is see me, notice me, this is I'm all that plus a bag of chips, as they say. And you find that when you're doing that yourself, and this is why, expressing yourself in such a way that your audience, your target market, the people you are serving can be the ones to tell your story. Stories are important. It's important for you to know what your story is that you can tell. You can tell your story in your voice, but then your story can be told back to you. So people are, wherever you are in life, you'll find out that people are, I don't want to use the word judging, because nobody should be under that kind of tyranny, if you like, but people are forming an opinion. So it's their opinion of how they've related with you. It's their opinion of the essence that they have received from you, the service, the value that they have received from you. So let me go back and talk about why stories. First of all, what is a story? A story is just a collection of, and I'm not even using a dictionary definition, right? Let's just be real here. A story is something that, your story is that thing that sort of like introduces you to the world. Like I told a little bit of my story when I gave my bio just now, when I introduced myself. I didn't go into too much detail because you can find out more about me on my website and everything. But I told you a little bit about who I am. So your story not only projects you or introduces you to the world, it positions you. So when I came on and I said, I'm Clara Rufai, I am popularly known as the Shine Strategist, that was a positioning statement. So your positioning statement is important. Who people say you are may not even be as important as who you say you are. So and it's not arrogance to recognize who you are, to know who you are. So this is what I always say. How you then use your story to position yourself for relevance. Relevance in this sense can be also defined as success, right? I know that success means different things to different people, as it should. And for me, success is that process. Success is a process. Definitely a process, is not a destination. I don't believe that any human being living can get to that point where they say, I have arrived at destination success. Yes, we may be involved in little projects and we may be involved in little things that we're doing that we can say these are the steps to the completion of a particular project. And I've gone through step A, step B, step C, and I've reached the end of those steps. So therefore, I have completed a project. But in a general term, you cannot say that you have arrived at a destination called success. What do I mean by that? And this is where the shine strategy, the shine philosophy that I preach so passionately, this is where it comes in. Because I believe that to shine, right, is for each one of us to esteem ourselves highly enough, yeah, to turn on the inner light. Remember, I first talked about the fact that we all carry a light, but the triumphs and the tribulations of life can sometimes dim that light. But to shine means that each one of us recognizes we carry that light. And we esteem ourselves as important. We esteem ourselves as important enough, valuable enough to reach inward and to turn on that inner light. And then from that position, when you turn on the light, it's not an act of arrogance, it's an act of confidence. It's an act of you saying to the world that I know who I am, I know whose I am, I know what I carry, and I know what I can create with what I carry, or what I have created with what I carry. And perhaps I even know who it is that needs the value that I carry, or the value that I create, the value that I bring to the world. I know who it is that needs it. And when I break down what the shine philosophy means in terms of the 5 strategic steps in the shine strategy, you will understand a little bit more that there is a process to all of this. But to shine it means in general to soar higher into new expressions. And what do I mean by that? This is where that comes from, that definition comes from. I totally believe, right, that no matter who you are, no matter how far along your shine journey, you hear me talk about shine a lot, your shine mantle, your shine mandate, your shine factor, everything is around that word shine. No matter how far along your shine journey you have progressed, there's always a next level up. Remember earlier, I talked about the fact that the Leap and Shine conference, which you can see the banner right behind me, had existed as an online summit since 2016. And for 3 years, it held as a global online summit, inviting so many people from different parts of the world. But we knew in 2020 that it was time to take it up one step higher. It was time to bring our A game. It was time to gather people, take it one step higher by gathering people under one roof. Some of the world's most amazing speakers to just come to just basically what you're doing, except that it was live. What the Mindshift Summit is doing, except that ours was live. So that was the next level for us. So soaring higher, that concept of soaring higher into new expressions means that you can never say it is done, it is finished. It is not done, it is not over, it is not finished until it is. And it is not done, it is not over, it is not finished until you bow out from this world. So it is important for us to always say, what is my next level? What do I need to do in seeking that global relevance, in seeking, and for me, relevance should be tied around value. If you're not adding value to somebody in some way, please, what are you doing with your relevance? What does relevance even mean? Do you understand? If you are not adding value to somebody, and it doesn't have to be that you have to add value to hordes of people or hundreds. You don't have to be, just as an example, a Michael Jackson that everybody in every village knew. Even people who were barely educated in like African villages and remote areas knew of him. And all of that, they knew his dance steps and all of those sorts of things. So he had a cult following. He had hordes and hundreds of people across the world who knew him. So in some way, you can quickly maybe conclude that that sort of person is relevant, but you and I are also relevant because we carry a message, we carry a mantle. What I've come to this world to achieve and to do, the value I carry, the value I've come to give is not the same one that Michael Jackson has. It's not the same one that David Beckham has. It's not the same thing, the same one that is their shine factor. These people are mentioning, like if I was to say David Beckham, you would immediately tell me what it is that makes him stand out. If I was to say Tiger Woods, you would tell me what it is that makes him stand out. If I was to call Venus and Serena Williams, you would tell me what it is that makes them stand out, because these people are known for that. So I suppose in seeking relevance, the one question we need to ask is, what am I relevant for? What is my relevance hinged on? What is my relevance, tied to? What is the value I bring? It is so, so, so critically important. But hear me, stories that are the most powerful form of communication. Any human communication, stories are powerful. Think about when we started, at your very first experience in education, for instance, nursery school, kindergarten, as we would call it. You know that your teachers would teach you. Teachers normally teach the very young children from the get-go with stories. There are nursery rhymes and there are all kinds of stories, because they're trying to awaken the child's creative mind. They're trying to get the child to imagine. There's a poem we used to say when I was in kindergarten that said the cow jumped over the moon or something like that. You'll be wondering, how can a cow jump over the moon? But just that process of challenging the child's mind with that imagery is actually growing and developing the child's creative powers. So when they were teaching us things like, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall and all of those things, it was to awaken our creative mind. It was to encourage us to fall in love with the art of storytelling. But why would they need to do that if storytelling is not important? Storytelling is absolutely important. Stories have been shared from time immemorial, from the days of pre-civilization. Stories have actually been carried from one hand to the other. I still remember the stories that my grandmother and used to tell me, and my granduncles and grandaunts in the village used to tell me used to tell us as children when we were much younger, how we would go to the village at Christmas time, and we would sort of sit around the fire, and they would tell story, and all of that. Those are things that never ever leave your mind. Stories are powerful. There's no doubt about it. And the reason they are powerful is because they spark, as I said, your creative mind, your imagination, they spark your emotions, that in a way that regular advertising does not. Regular advertising is bland. It carries no soul. It carries no particular imagery. It may carry imagery, but the imagery of it is oftentimes not as powerful or memorable as when you weave your brand story, just as an example, around a story. And don't forget, when I'm talking about this, some of us may say, oh, well, I don't have a brand. I'm not building a brand. That's not true. That's not true. You are building a brand. In fact, you are a brand. Brand you is the most important, or project you, as I always say, is the most important project in life that you can ever undertake. You yourself, you are a brand. Peter is a brand. Precious is a brand. The same way as the Mindshift Summit is a brand. I was listening to one of your speakers earlier today, and she, was talking about pretty much the same thing I felt and the same thing I expressed, that just that name, Mindshift Summit, speaks volumes. It's powerful. It evoked, when I first saw it, and Peter Precious asked me if I would speak at this summit, it evoked a certain imagery in my mind, because in writing, I wrote a book in 2016, my first book, that was called Prison Break: The 9 to 5 Escape Agenda. And there's a story behind it. I'll tell you that story very briefly. At the time I wrote that book, I'm a corporate lawyer. I work long hours, very demanding, very, very stressful work, reading reams and reams and, just legal documents all day long. It takes a lot out of you. And I got to that point when I began to get a little bit disillusioned with the 9 to 5. And I thought, oh my God, yes, I'm a lawyer. I went to school, I studied law, qualified lawyer of many years. I have a very good job in the city of London. I'm doing well. In fact, I have a job that many people would want and many people would envy. But I knew that something was missing. I knew that I was not happy. I looked at people who didn't even have the kind of corporate lawyer job that I had. And I could see that they were happy. They were pursuing their dreams, their goals, and their purpose. And that is why they were happy, because they were expressing themselves in ways that nurtured them. Whereas I did not find that satisfaction in my day job. So I began to see the day job at that time as a prison. And I felt like every day, 9 to 5, going in at a certain time, sitting down at my employee, at my place of work, be chained. That's the way I thought of it. Those were the imagery, the words I used to use, chained behind my desk. I can't move, I can't do anything. There's so much in the world I want to do. My voice should be heard all around the world. My message should be powerfully shared in different places. I didn't want to be chained to a physical location, which was the reality in 2016. But before then, there had been an unsettled feeling within me that made me realize that I carry something. I carry a message. And I just couldn't figure out at that time how I was going to bring my message to the world or how I was going to share my story. And then I began to feel, as I began to tell myself a lie, because sometimes we tell ourselves a lie, and we need to expunge that lie in order to replace it with the truth. I began to tell myself a lie that, look, everybody knows you as this corporate lawyer. By the time you start to show up now as a coach, as a mentor, they'll be like, where is she coming from? Which one is this again? Is she not doing law again? And all of that. And so I began to feel like an imposter. I began, even before I started my journey, my shine journey, I began to question myself. I began to feel like, oh, people will judge me and all of that. But, I got to that point where I decided that my happiness, my fulfillment, is the most important thing. And I'm saying this to tell somebody on here today or somebody who would listen later to know that deep within you that you have a calling, you have a mandate, you have something that God has placed in your hands. You have a message. That message tugs at your heart. Pretty much the way my message, my calling was tugging at my heart, where it would not let me rest. It was like a mantra, like a song playing in my head. And most of the time, I am sort of like questioning myself, is this all there is to life? So yes, you're this big shot lawyer, but you're not really, you want to do other things because you know that you are multi-expressive, multi-talented, multi-passionate. I had so many other passions besides law. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest and admit to you guys that, law was not even a passion. Law was not a passion. My first passion, as at the time, let me not say my first, but as at the time I went into university to study law, my passion was not law. My passion was drama, theater, art. I saw myself as somebody who would stand on a stage somewhere and do some kind of creative art, either spoken word or poetry or something, and that I would move. This was the picture in my mind, that I would move huge audiences of people to tears with the force and the power of my words, and people would never be the same again. I suppose in some ways, that's the kind of impact that singers and a musician might have. Like you see somebody like Michael Jackson standing on stage singing, and right there in front of him in the audience, men, women, everybody, people are just falling over themselves, fainting. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm so close. So, oh, he's within touching distance, my hero. Oh God, and all of that. That is the power that I wanted to have on people. But what happened when it was time for me to choose a course at university? My parents, who loved me and who wanted the best for me, said, law, sorry, not law. They said, theater arts. What are you talking about? You want to be you want to be an actress after all the money we spent to put you through school? What? And then I won't tell you what they said, but they had all sorts of ideas about what it is actresses do. And they said, no, 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 you will do no such thing. You will go into university and you will study an important self-respecting course like law. And so they led me down that path, God bless them. And I went in and I studied law. Like I said, had the choice been left to me, I probably would have been a famous actress somewhere. here, by now. But I went in, I studied law, and I came out and I'm practicing law. I've practiced law now for over a quarter of a century, 26 years and counting. And I've been a good lawyer, damned good lawyer, right? But I find that the place where I shine the brightest, I find that the thing that brings out my passion, that makes me come alive, is not law. It is my first love, which is expressing myself, whether I'm expressing myself in writing. Those of you who follow me on social media will see that I love to write little limericks, little one-liners, two-liners that just, punch you in the heart and just make you think, or they inspire you, or they motivate you, or they challenge you in some way to take some action. I want to be known, right? And this is me telling my story now. I want to be known as that person that because of me, somebody decides I'm not giving up. That because of me, somebody decides if the Shine Strategist can do it, I can do it. I want to be that force of inspiration. What do you want to be? What is your story? Do you even know your story? The first thing to do, of course, would be to get intimate with yourself. To know who you are, why you're here, who you're called to serve, what are the gifts that you are called to serve them with, what can you then create? Because oftentimes we don't serve people with our gifts in their raw form. We may apply those gifts to something, or add them to something else, collaborate here and there, write a book. For instance, I love writing. And when I wrote my book, Prison Break, in 2016, it was normal. It was a natural, flow that I should from there now start to build my entrepreneurial side. I started to build platforms. I started to, the platforms are like my Shine Mentoring Hub, the Leap and Shine Conference, virtual and live, and my podcast as well. My podcast has been such a powerful, powerful tool. And that's another thing, depending on who you are and your lifestyle and the stage where you are in your journey, that's what will kind of decide what next level means to you. That's what will kind of decide for you what you need to do next in terms of bringing yourself into that relevance that we're talking about. So make no mistake about it. It's important how you share your story, how you tell your story. The narrative is absolutely critically important, because when people hear a good story, it helps them to remember you as a person. It helps them to remember your brand message. For me, in all circles, in my family WhatsApp group, in my secondary school old girls WhatsApp group, wherever I go, I am globally now recognized as the lady with the shine message. And a lot of people who don't know would say, what does it mean to shine? And I tell them it's not about the bling. It may be about inner bling. So say, for instance, my Shine capsule, I describe it as audio pills, right? That you can ingest, that you can consume, and it helps you to shine from the inside out. Because I recognize that when we use the word shine, if one is not careful, it will conjure up an image of, a nicely made up face and, bling and all of that. But it goes beyond that. You cannot shine externally unless you are shining internally. So for me, I prefer when I work with people, I work with clients, I prefer to do the work from the inside out. I prefer for them to be able to write their own shine statement. And a lot of people I work with come to me unsure. There are doubts, about their talents, their gifts. But I have a clarity method that I use to get people to. So it's not me telling you who you are. It is you discovering through working it out. And if you go on my website, in fact, this might be a good thing for your delegates at this conference to do. If you go on my website, you will see the Shine Assessment is an audio guide that helps you. If you sit down with it and sit down with a notepad, is something, download it. It's free of charge. It helps you think through that whole process of distilling your thoughts. You answer certain questions from one to the other, and then you end by writing your Shine statement. And it's a very powerful exercise that has helped most of my clients. So you might want to go there and pick it up. But yeah, stories are important. When an audience hears a story, they don't forget. The brain creates a connection. You feel the emotion. And this is why I believe that not only are stories important, our stories are not for us. You don't light a light and put it under a bushel. If I'm telling my story only to myself, How does that help anybody? I have to tell my story. I have to be vocal about my story, not in a braggadocious way, a not in a negative way, but I have to tell my story in such a way as to attract the people that God has called me to serve. Our stories are not for us. Our stories are meant to, connect us to the people that we are called to serve in life. So, for instance, when I tell my story of the fact that I have gone through grief, just as an example, I find that it draws people to me. It's like it's a ministry, it's a mini ministry that I carry. When I see people grieving, when I see someone who's lost someone close to them, I always feel like I may not know the person. I may just come across something on Facebook where someone is talking about losing a family member or a close person. I just cannot walk past such a post without saying something, because I myself have been in that dungeon of grief before. you know um Years ago, years ago, I lost two of my younger sisters. Two, not one. Two of my younger sisters on the same day. And it was a very crushing event. It was something that made me spiral into depression. It was a period of my life that was dark. I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. It was a period of my life where I had major, major trust issues with God. And I was a Christian at the time. So I felt like God had let me down somehow. I felt like, He had dropped the ball. So I felt really, really aggrieved. It was a deep, deep, deep cut. And it was a very challenging period for my family and I, as you can imagine. And in that place, of sorrow and misery, as I began to heal something unique, something special, I still talk about it. And please forgive me if I'm not articulating it well. But I experienced it, and I know that something really special happened in that place. As I began to heal, God began to, sort of like set some questions on my mind. And I was asking myself, so these two beautiful, bubbly young girls have gone. Their lives have been cut short. You know, Today they were here, the next minute they're no more. That's it, it's finished. You can't even bring them back, even if you want to. You can change the story. It's happened, it's happened. It's the way of life. We will all die at some point. So, they're not here? And then that thought came to me, they are no longer here to live their lives, to pursue their dreams. But what about you? You're still here, and you're still here for a reason and for a purpose. So, what is that purpose? And how are you going to make your life count? I'm telling you, from that day, from that moment, from that period of my life, I got up, literally cleaned my tears, and I began to ask myself those questions. There is more to life. There's more to my life. It's not just about this. Of course, at that time too, I had a day 9 to 5 job, and I've always had this tugging in my heart telling me that it is more, there is more. Because the 9 to 5 job, you are known in that space, in that office, to that employer. And do you know what? I go through the archives at my present place of work, where in November I would be 10 years at my current day job. And I see different people's names. Some of I work in the UK, obviously, some of them Nigerians. I'm like, Babatunde, somebody used to work here. I never met that person. Our paths didn't cross. But the point I'm trying to make is the person is a long forgotten memory. They used to work there. They used to sit in my seat one day years ago. They are no longer known, no longer remembered. They've moved on. They've moved on. My point, one day you will move on from school, from home, from the job you're currently doing. What then? What will people remember you for? So that is why, if I have a fear at all, I would say that the real fear that I have is the fear of dying on song. But the only way you can die on song is if you keep mute, is if you have a closed mouth, if you don't speak about your story, if you don't share your story. So before I finish my talk, I'm going to suggest to you, the best way to share your story, the best way to how you can share your story and share it effectively. Because as I said, some people share their story and it's off-putting. Instead of attracting your audience to you, is off-putting. People, she's always talking, oh God, she's here again. She's always going on and on and on about this, about how great she is, and about it puts people off instead of drawing people to you. You want to attract people with your story. So there's a certain art, there's a certain style, there's a certain essence that you have to put behind that art of telling your story. But everybody has a story. I've always believed in the power of storytelling. You go on my website, that's one of the things you will see. I'm a storyteller. I believe we all have a story. And I believe if my story is the only one, I help people tell their stories by helping them write their books, helping to coach them to write their books if that's what they want to do, to write it themselves. I edit, but I also do ghostwriting, which means that, I get involved in the person's life and the person's story. I, imbibe the essence of the story that they're trying to tell, and then I write the story, obviously under their name, but that's part of what I do. So stories are important. But one thing, we all have our self-doubts. I had them. I had my self-doubts as well. The most confident person only came to a place of confidence after they faced their doubts and their fears. And that is why somebody I listened to last week, a friend of mine, a fellow coach I listened to last week, said fear could either mean, it could mean one of two things. As an acronym, it could mean fear everything and run, FEAR, fear everything and run, or it could mean face everything and rise. Think about that. Let me just drop that there. Fear could be fear everything and run, or it could be face everything and rise. And someone has also said that fear, when you really, really look at it and you break it apart, in some ways, somebody said fear is even afraid of you, because if you show up, if you know who you are and what you carry, and you show up in the majesty of what you carry, fear will be afraid of you. So that is really, really important. We need to stop doubting ourselves. We need to be absolutely, clear about who we are and what we carry. And sometimes who we are is not just about us, it's about who we are in God. Right? So building relationships that will lead you to, global relevance is important, because people will only connect with you, with your story, with your brand story, and with the way you tell it, and with your essence. Those that connect with me have connected with me because of the way I present myself. Some people say I'm bubbly. Some people say I'm always positive. Some people say, oh, your writing inspires me. Some people just like something about the way I tell my story. Some people are drawn to my story for different ways. But the KLT, as they call it, the know, like, and trust factor, KLT, that is critical if you're going to be successful in anything you're doing. Even if it's a job interview you're going to, that, you have to be able to, give something of yourself to the interviewer that you're sitting opposite them. Give something of yourself in that 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 hour, however long that interview is. But you've got to get them to like what they see that you've presented to them. And that's what will make them maybe invite you for a second interview, or say, hey, you're the lucky man, you're the lucky woman, we are offering you the job. So that's what I would say, how we can shine, because right now, today, in today's world, social media, I keep saying it's not a lack of information, it is more a lack of action that is our problem. There's information everywhere. In fact, there's too much information. There's a lot of noise, because everybody is streaming, and everybody is Facebooking, and everybody is talking. So you need to also be so intimate with yourself that you know yourself, your message. You're not being tossed about by contrary winds of doctrine. You're not dancing to somebody else's drum beat. You recognize your own song of life when you hear it. You know your dance beat. If someone is dancing Atilogu, you don't need to dance that if you have been called to dance some other dance, the salsa or the waltz. Just know your dance, know your song. And each of us, we have our song sheet. What is written in your song sheet? When you raise your voice to speak and express yourself to the world, how does that voice sound? Is that voice recognizable? The good book even says that, my sheep know me, they know my voice, and all of that. So, do the people that you are called to serve, your audience, do they recognize? If you go into a crowded marketplace and you start to call out, will those people that you are meant to serve, those people for whom that your message is meant for, will they recognize you? So that's very important. But bear in mind, your story is not meant for you. Your story is meant to direct you and connect you and link you up with the people that you are called to serve. And here's the thing, some of us try to pretty up our stories. If there is something there that seems like it is not too flattering, we edit it out. Right? If, for instance, you want to give the impression, and that's why I talked about the difference between positioning and posturing, right? Posturing is a see me, I'm sure, and most people posture on social media because it's always the best pictures, the photoshopped ones, the everything, social media is meant to portray everybody as happy, everybody as lucky, everybody as living a perfect life. And it's simply not true. But the more personal you make your story, the more authentic, the more truthful, the more honest you make your story, the more it will connect with somebody. For me now, just telling you, I lost my sisters, I went into depression, I went through a season where I didn't want to know. Don't tell me about God. They don't form my hand. I mean, how can, and all of that. For me to admit that to you, if you have ever been through a similar experience, instantly something within you will leap towards me because you know that this person gets it. This person gets me. That's how I felt. Oh my God, she just put into words what I feel that I think nobody else can understand. She just said it. So good storytelling will advance your message and it will elevate you to new heights. Whether it is personally, whether it is professionally, it will connect you with your audience. It will connect you with your clients, with powerful contacts in a powerful way. Bear that in mind. So carrying on, because I need to sort of begin to bring this to a close. When you give somebody just facts, fact A, fact B, fact C, they will hear, they will listen. They might even remember it a few minutes or a few hours after you've given them the facts, but they may not remember it later. In the foreseeable future, if you were to come and ask about those, do you remember so and so? They may say, not quite. But if you wrap it around the story, they will remember. I guarantee you that. Great stories make great content. When they say content is king, what does it mean? Content is king because people love stories. We love to hear. We love to hear. And that is why even men of God in churches have perfected the art of storytelling. The Bible itself is filled with many stories, different people's lives, and that is, I suppose, part of what makes it one of the greatest books and makes the stories, the story of David and, the Uriah, Bathsheba and all those. You hear those stories, you don't forget the two women in the Bible who one of them, her child died and then she stole the other woman's. You don't forget once you hear a good story because people love stories. So let's know that the brain connects with stories. So we need to be telling our stories. Now, the stories that we tell, as I said, must be honest. They must be authentic. Authenticity never goes out of fashion. It will stay evergreen. But if you are posturing and pretending to be somebody that you are not, one, it will come out in the wash. Two, you will be found out sooner than later. Three, your message will not really catch on. Your message will not really, people will see through you. That's one thing I know. If you're not speaking with your own authentic voice, you're not doing your own dance, people will see through you. So do you. It is so critical to do you. That's the true essence of shining, to do you. Now, there are 4 P's, right? When it comes to storytelling, there are 4 P's that we need to know. One of them is the people, or I would say the person. Who is the person in the story? Let's say we're talking about personal storytelling, right? That will catapult you into global relevance. So let's use you. Instead of saying people, let's say person. Who is the person in the story? Of course, you are the protagonist in the story. You are the chief actor, chief actress in the story. So who you are is very important. You can't project who you are if you don't even know who you are. You have to first of all introduce yourself to yourself before you can introduce yourself to the world. So the main character in your story has to be you, and you have to be invested in that character. You have to be invested enough to want to discover who you truly are on the inside. What are my core beliefs? Those things that when push comes to shove, what are the things that, what are my limiting beliefs? What are my core beliefs? What is it that drives me? What is it that propels me in life? Those are the things that are important. So if you're telling your story, you're the main character. Your story resonates with people that you are called to be connected with. They will then become emotionally connected with you. The second P is the place. Where does the story take place? And we can move in terms of telling our life story. We'll move from season to season, seasons of our lives, right? I told you about a time when I lost my sisters. I went into depression. Today, I'm not that person. I don't tell you that story as from a victim's perspective. I tell you that story from a position of strength. I tell you that story to let you know that I see it as part of the work that I do. When I see somebody hurting or grieving, I bring a word of hope. And I say, it doesn't look like it right now, but it will get better. I can say to the person that I felt what you felt once upon a time, and I felt like, you know what, the sun will never come out again, but trust me, it will come out. And I can give them practical tips on how to grieve, because sometimes not grieving properly can actually make your grief last so much longer. So that is one of the few ways in which I minister. I don't charge for it, but it's just something I find myself being connected to because of my experience. So your experience will always pull you to somebody. What about the plot? What is the conflict? What is in certain ways you can say, what is the pain and what is the pleasure? What is the pain that the person has gone through and what is the pleasure? Or you can say prison and palace. What is the prison that the person has escaped? For me, I escaped the prison of the mind. When I was writing my book, Prison Break, I started writing that manuscript feeling that my job, my 9 to 5 job, as beautiful as it is, I earn well. I felt that it was a prison. I began to resent my job. But God opened my eyes and showed me that, hey, for you to do those other things that you say you want to do, express yourself as an influencer in the world, don't you know you need finance, you need money. So if you were to not have a day job, how would you be able to fund? And if you look at what I've managed to build, my website, whether it's the personal website or the conference website, the Leap and Shine conference website, all of these things take money. To put out a podcast there, it takes money. Everything you do would involve money. You work with consultants, you work with content writers, it takes money. So then I began to have a change of heart, and I began to see my day job as a fundraiser. I began to see it as something positive. And I had an epiphany in the process of writing my manuscript, where I saw that actually the day job is not your prison. Your prison is right here in your head. That is the chief prison. If you can overcome the mental prison, the mental block that says, because you're a lawyer, because you're a city lawyer, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you can't express yourself in this way, you can't express, that is a lie of the devil. You need to shrug off that lie and you need to go for your dreams. So I'm saying this to encourage somebody. If you are seeing yourself in a certain light and thinking that because of your antecedents, because of your current circumstances, you can't go after your dreams, I'm here to tell you, you absolutely can. I've done it, I've proved it, and you absolutely can. And if you need someone to keep you accountable, hold your hand. That's what I do. Let's talk about it. But carrying on, you have to know what it is, what palace, what prisons have you escaped? And everybody has a prison, by the way. A prison is anything that holds you bound, anything that holds you in containment, anything that limits you in any way, right? Anything that constrains you in any way. And your palace is that place of freedom. So for me, I escaped in 2016 after I wrote that book and I began to build. I escaped my prison and I went into my palace. And I'm beautifying my palace. And I'm beautifying the world with my essence and with my value. So that's critically important. But the purpose also, we talk about purpose a lot. We talk about destiny, especially those of us who are people of faith. What do you do if you don't know your purpose? You cannot achieve much if you don't know your purpose, why you are here on planet Earth. You must know that you're not just a waste of space. You must know you're not here to clutter up the landscape. You must be clear on that. So let me give you quickly, wrapping it around my 5-step shine philosophy, let me give you quickly how, just a few ways, a few things to think about. Now, very quickly, the S in shine stands for start. The H stands for harness. The I stands for identify. N stands for network. E stands for express. Global brands use this method. When you hear of the Disney worlds of today, it started with a story. Everything must start. Anything that you do not sit down to, how do I put it, critically consider, put pen to paper. The good book says, write the vision that you so you can run with it. You have to be, again, it's more important. There's more to be done because action changes things. There's more to be done than just writing it down, but that is a good step. So here's what I would say. Here is just very simply, because you might have questions, but let me just give you the 5-step, the SHINE strategy for building relevance through personal storytelling. What do you need to do? The first thing to do is to start. A closed mouth, how do they say it? I'm not sure if I even really believe it, but in a sense, it makes sense, doesn't it? A closed mouth is a closed future. You have to speak your message in a positive way that changes life. So you have to start from somewhere. So my question is, I suppose, is what we need to ask ourselves is, how do we begin to build a great brand, a great personal brand or other brand that can make it to the global stage and can be deemed valuable globally, can be deemed relevant, can be recognizable, just as my SHINE philosophy and my SHINE brand is recognizable? How do you do that? How do you start to share your story? I think it was somebody called Mark Twain who said that the secret to getting started is getting started. Just start sharing your story. Tonight, as you go back, sit down and put pen to paper, get a little notepad and begin to just write. Who am I? Like I said, you can go to my website and download the audio guide there, the Shine Assessment audio guide, and it will help you. But take it that S is to start. So start that process. Ask yourself the questions. Who am I? What am I here to do? What do I have, as in my gifts, my talents, my callings, and what can I do? Who can I serve? And then take it also for share. S can also be for share. There is no point when you discover those things for you to then go back to keeping quiet. You cannot light a light and put it under a bushel. So S is also for share. And it's also for shine. So to share, to shine the brilliance on your personal brand or other brand, you need to share, you need to speak, you need to share stories that will resonate with your particular audience that you are targeting. Everyone is involved in telling stories in one way or the other. You may not know it, but you are branding yourself by the way you show up on social media, by the things you post, by the way, sometimes when I read inputs on Twitter and all of that, mostly from Nigerians on social media, I get embarrassed. I cover my face and I say, oh my God, who did this to us? Why is it that the average Nigerian, and I don't mean to be insulting anybody here, is not able to just express themselves on social media in a respectful way to others? Why the vituperations, the hatred, why the tribal insults, why the religious insults, why the ethnic insults, just vile words, vile language? And I worry for my young children because I always say, the way we carry on as Nigerians, one would think that, the internet, www, it belongs to us, it's ours, because we have some of the most. But anyway, that's one area where we definitely need to change our mentality and upgrade it. But everyone is involved in storytelling. So take an inventory of your life. Ask yourself, where am I coming from and where am I going to, and what am I going there to do? Please be clear on all those things. H stands for harness. Right? After you have started the process, you need to harness all the strong points of your life. Some of us specialize in kicking ourselves down. Some of us specialize in putting ourselves down. We will not pat ourselves on the back for the good things we have done. We will only remember the times when we failed, and we will say, we will use it. It's almost like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We'll say, you see, I told you it wouldn't work. You see, I told you you couldn't do it. Who told you you could do this? Who told you you can't? Any one of us can be brilliant. We carry that greatness inside of us. Remember, we just have to reach inward and turn on the switch of that light, and boom, brilliance. So it doesn't matter how great your story is. If you're not harnessing the best parts of it, when people take pictures, why do they say, please catch my best side? Oh no, this is my best side. Oh, how do I look? Oh no, please don't take, don't let my tummy look big. Oh, don't, you're setting up you're presenting your best side to the camera and to the world. So look for the best sides of your life, best sides of your story as you go out to the stage, the world stage, to share that story. Harness all of those, latent potentials, the skills, the talents, the things you are brilliant at, the things that to somebody else it may seem like work, but to you it's enjoyable. And that's how to discover what your shine factor is that thing you can do with ease that somebody else may not be able to do, but for you it's a walk in the park. Your story can change lives. So if you know what that story is and you start the process and you harness it, I trust me, you are on the way to creating something very powerful that will change somebody's life. And it's only when you're adding value and changing lives that's when money follows it. Right. So monetization is not always the key thing. The key thing is to understand what it is that you're even bringing to the world. That's why Zig Ziglar made an observation. I think he said, it's not what you've got, but it is what you do with what you've got that makes a difference. He said, it's not what you've got, it's not what you hold in your hand, it's what you do with what you hold in your hands, with what you carry, that makes a difference. That's what makes you memorable. That's what will make people remember you after you've left the stage, right? So what makes the difference is what you do with your story, the way in which you harness it. And the I stands for identify. You have to identify moral life lessons that you can then teach to somebody else. They're wrapped up in the story of your life, but you have to unpick them, untie them, and make them like I've divided the word shine into 5 steps that I now use to teach a philosophy that can be applied to businesses, can be applied to individual lives, can be applied to personal lives and to relationships. So it's important to work out something, pick out the life lessons, the things that have taught you personally, pick them out. And those are the things that you probably would be very successful and recognized for if you use them to teach somebody else. So you need to identify those moral lessons. On top of that, you need to identify what your message is, what your essence is, what is your platform. I know my message, right? But who am I called to preach that message to? Who is my target audience? Number one, you identify that. Where do they hang out? You identify that. Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on, where can I find them? Or are they online or offline? You find out all. There's so many things that comes into that word identify. You identify the opportunities around you. That means the needs, the pain points of people. You identify this person has this problem or this pain, and I can create something that just acts as a balm to soothe that pain. I can create something that becomes the pleasure that counteracts the pain that this person is feeling. Then that person will be prepared to pay you for it, hence monetization. So you have to find your perfect platform. If you don't have a platform, create one. The Mindshift Summit is a powerful name and it's a powerful summit. So kudos to you guys. These are the things we're talking about. If you don't have a business, create one, collaborate with somebody, work with other people who are of similar minds, who have similar goals and are traveling along the same path as you. That's how you find opportunities. Begin to share the stories of your life and of your business and of the things you've learned. I told you just now how that when I went through that deep dark period when I lost my sisters, I learned something from it. I got an epiphany from it, and that shaped the rest of my life, and it has shaped who I have become. And I actually even gave myself a name in that time, BTC. If you look at some of my writings, you'll see BTC. And sometimes people ask me, do you have 3 middle names? BTC, what does it mean? And I'll tell them it means born to conquer, because I conquered that depression, and I overcame, and I know that I carry that essence within me, that no matter what life throws at me, I can overcome and I can conquer. So that's my given name. BTC means born to conquer. So that's one of my lessons from that dark period of my life. So know what your lessons are, use it to reach out to others, to connect with others. Networking is so important. Networking, what does it mean? Is how you build, you nurture, you develop relationships that can help you achieve your vision, your mission, and your purpose. You build, you develop, you leverage, you nurture relationships, right, that can help you achieve your vision, your mission, and your purpose in life. You can't do it alone. No man is an island. We are all interdependent human beings. We are social animals. Like I said, every teacher has a teacher, every mentor has a mentor, every coach has a coach. You yourself are a coach to somebody, just as you will learn from somebody else. So please make those connections. They are so critically important. Your story and what you're seeking should lead you, for instance, to the people who will mentor you. You know, you could admire something about somebody who has walked the path that you want to go. Success leaves clues, right? So just put your footsteps in the steps of those people who have gone ahead of you. That way you shorten the learning curve, and you are able to learn from their mistakes. You don't necessarily have to repeat their mistakes, but you can learn from them ways that might not work. You know, you can learn a smarter way of doing stuff that you want to do. So those people who, for you, you're living your present, but for some people, their past is your present, so they can coach you. And for some other people coming behind you, your present is where they are. They're currently your past. An experience that you've had is where they currently are. So therefore, you can coach them. Your story can help to shorten, make the journey of recognition less frustrating for somebody. Let's put it that way. So networking is very critical, and networking can be online, offline. It can take many different forms, but time will not permit us to pick it apart and go into detail. But you must position yourself. If you must position yourself for global relevance, then networking is key. Networking is something that you cannot do without. The people you know, you relate to them, you relate to their stories. The more you do that, the easier your visibility becomes. Remember, I said I build platforms to show off people, to showcase people. I come alive when people are shining, when people are expressing themselves, expressing creativity. That gives me satisfaction. So I know that that is my core. So that has drawn me to people who are looking for relevance in life. If there's one thing that personal storytelling does for you, it is the fact that it helps you create what I would call a formidable network of people who share your story, a formidable network of people who can relate to your story, who your story resonates with them. Those people will cling to you, and they will seek to um, uh, relate with you more and more, and they will seek collaborative opportunities to work with you. So it's important. Now, the last letter in the word shine, the letter E, stands for express. Self-explanatory, isn't it? Because how can a diamond express its brilliance if it doesn't shine? It's not possible. And pearls, when you pick them from the water buried in the ocean, pearls come from the ocean. They don't always look pretty at that stage. They have to be burnished, they have to be shaped, they have to be purified. The same thing with the diamonds. They come from the belly of the earth. And they don't look a diamond in the rough. You must have heard that statement, a diamond in the rough. It's not pretty to look at. It doesn't glint. It doesn't catch the light. But after you have honed it, you have cleaned it, you have burnished and polished it. And that process part of that process is the harnessing process, where you are deliberately harnessing your talents and all of that until they become something that people cannot say they can't see. You become visible to the people that you're meant to serve. So how does a diamond shine? How does a diamond express its brilliance? It is only by shining. It is only by glowing. How can your brand, whether it is a personal brand or other brand, how can you be repositioned for global relevance? But how can you be repositioned? How can you be positioned or repositioned for global relevance? It is by finding expression in the hearts of a certain audience. Like I said, you're not called to everybody. It is arrogance to think that everybody must love you, everybody must click with you, must gel with you, everybody must love your face, love your message. That is pure arrogance. You are called to a certain subset of people. Serve them and serve them faithfully, and you will be made, you'll be minted, you will be relevant, you'll be an influencer. They will go and tell your story abroad. Right? The most powerful, what do you call it now, recommendation, testimonial, is the verbal. It's not the one you pay for. It is the verbal, for somebody to say, oh my God, you have to listen to this woman speak. She's so passionate. Oh my God, you have to work with the Shine strategist. There's something about her methods. There's something about her life story that will impact you. That's somebody I've worked with telling somebody that's most powerful. So I would say this one thing in closing: dare to express yourself, dare to express your brilliance. It is not bragging, right? It is not bragging. And a friend of mine who I work with, and a lady who I respect very much, Alex Okoroji, she owns something they call the Brag media company. And people look at the word brag and they think it means just brag, brag. No, but it actually means, it's an acronym for boldly, radically achieving goals. That's what brag means. So you can, when you've boldly, radically pursued your goals and achieved them, then you can come out and say, hey, my name's Clara Rufai. I'm the Shine strategist. I'm the president and CEO of the Shine Zone. And you can talk about all the work you've done because you have paid the dues, you have burned the midnight oil, you have done what you are supposed to do. And now it's time to set it on a hilltop so that people can see. Remember, when your light shines, when you express yourself and you shine your light, you give permission, you light the way, not just for yourself, but everybody around you sees clearly to walk their path. Because shining is like that, light is like that, it's generous. When light shines, it's not tunnel vision. It doesn't shine to light your path alone, it lights the path for everybody that is connected with you as well. So dare to express your story, dare to express, use personal storytelling to express your story. Like I said, anybody who is interested in pursuing this topic further, hearing more, we can talk about it, one-on-one. But if you don't do that, just know this: your brand will stay buried for way too long. You will not be able
Wow.
to get to that global stage. So here's what I will say: it is time to shine the light on your brilliance. Your brilliance will shine through the cracks, through all the failures. One thing you have to do is to know that your story is worth telling. And if you accept your story is worth telling and you're bold about telling your story, then the world will not be able to ignore you. The world will not be able to ignore you, and you will be ushered, catapulted even to global relevance. This has been my story, and so I would recommend that you do the same. Use the steps: start, harness, identify, network, and express your brilliance on the face of the earth. So thank
Wow,
you so
wow, wow,
much.
wow, wow, wow. That was mind blowing. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Peter.
very much for that session. Okay, so at this point, if you have any question to ask the Shine strategist, ask her now. Ask her now. She's the Shine strategist and she
I
wants you
love
to shine.
questions.
She loves questions.
You and Precious are shining bright, by the way. I'm proud of you guys. Kudos. Well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay. Also, okay, ma'am. You talked about your book, Prison Break.
Prison Break.
Prison Break. So, tell me, how can we get the book? Tell our audience how they can get the book, how we can get that book, a copy
Awesome.
of it, even
Mhm.
if it's the soft copy. How can we get it?
I might do something. I could. The book is available on Amazon, but for your delegates, I will talk to my team and see if we can let you get a copy, a soft copy, the digital copy, but it's available on Amazon.
Okay. So when we go to Amazon, just type
Yes, if you just
Prison
type
Break, we
in
see it.
Prison Break and my name, you'll see it.
Okay.
And I
That
think
is nice.
perhaps I can even show you what one of the early copies look like. Yes,
Wow.
so it's
Wow,
Prison
wow,
Break,
wow,
the
wow.
9 to 5 escape agenda, and that is the main message: taking the leap from limitation to liberation, because a lot of us are caught in different prisons of the mind, physical prisons, relationship prisons. So this book tells you how you can escape every prison by whatsoever name called, and you can walk and live in freedom, liberty, liberation, happiness, fulfillment, and joy.
Well, thank you very much. You are doing an amazing and awesome work, ma'am. You're doing
Thank
amazing
you
work.
so much.
Okay, so can you briefly tell us more about your community on Facebook and Instagram as well as Twitter so that our people can connect with you?
Sure. On Facebook, you can find me. Type in my name, Clara Rufai, the Shine Strategist. The best place to find me. Actually, this is what I should do. I love to say to people, visit me in my virtual home, which is www.clararufai.com. And the moment you land in my house, my virtual house, you will see all the doors that will lead you to Twitter world and Instagram and everywhere else. So I
Okay.
want you to visit me at home, because when you visit, you get a chance to relax, have a cup of tea, have the Shine
Yeah.
capsule. The Shine capsule is on the website. The free download of the Shine assessment is there. There are other gifts that you can take advantage of. You can send me a little message on there if you're wanting to have a one-on-one conversation. So everything you need to know about me, just land in my virtual home, www.lip and shine Lip and Shine Conference.
Wow, wow, wow.
Conference website, www.clararufai.com. I'll
Clararufai.com.
tell you this, I'll drop this here because I probably will come back and invite you. We're about to release. You hear me say I'm the
Wow.
president of the Shine Zone, and we're getting ready to release the website, which is like the umbrella home for the Shine Zone. So we will, shortly migrate from everywhere else, from Facebook, because I have a community on Facebook called the Shine Zone. But we are going to migrate to this home, which in the next week or two we'll be launching that website. So there's a lot that's happening that I can't really talk about now, but hopefully I'll
Wow.
come back again and talk to your guys and invite you to be a part.
I can't wait to be invited.
Be
Okay,
amazing.
thank you
I
very
need
much,
to
ma.
work with people like you who will come and be like ambassadors to other young people doing amazing stuff. Because as I said, yourself and Precious, you are shining. You have my endorsement.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, so uh, we we also announced to our community about the home. So at least the shine strategies, they are moving from rented apartment to their own personal home, according to John Obidi. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much, ma'am. So at this point, will be uh, our guest speaker will be going off. So
Thank
if
you.
there is any question, we'll also let you know. And if there's any way you can connect with her, just go to our home, our
Mm-hmm.
visual home, and you are
And
so
I'm
much
in your
welcome
WhatsApp group.
anytime,
So if
any
anybody
day.
is in the WhatsApp group, I can answer questions there as well.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, so thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for having me, and all the best. Well done.
Wow, that was a wonderful section from the Shine Strategies herself. She is committed to making you shine. She wants you to shine, and now we will be going to the next session by inviting the next guest speaker, the host of this event, the person of Precious Isikadi. Precious Isikadi, where are you? Um, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, Alcy is fixing
Is sound. One thing is certain, and that is the fact that you have to start from Harrison Emu down to Clara. They always talk about something. Both of them are mad on something, and I took note of it, which is the fact that it's not the lack of information. It's not the lack of information. There are so many information out there. So much information out there. The most the problem is action, taking action. That is the problem. We have learned a lot of things. I have a friend that, and she told me that I have registered for a lot of online courses. I have bought a lot of ebook, but the problem is not about the ebook. The problem is practicing what I've been learned. That is the problem. Practicing. How can you practice? So start from where you are. Don't wait for you to get millions. Probably you want to launch an online course. Probably you want to open a YouTube channel, and you are waiting to have millions. You want to have a studio. Yes, you know the right thing. You know what you want. You know you want a good camera. You want a studio. You want soundproof studio, good office. Just start from where you are. Start from where you are. I do tell people that in this our dispensation there is no excuse. There's no excuse for us not to shine. There's no excuse. So she talked about how we can use our personal story to gain recognition, position ourselves, and build more relevance. So, like people always say, people always say, it is what you tell the world. That is what they are going to know mostly about you, most especially when it has to do with the online space. So, position yourself. Tell the world about yourself positively. Tell the world about yourself positively. You sometimes you complain, but when you listen to other people's story, you will know that you have enough reason why you should be happy. You have enough reason why you should do a lot of things. You have enough reason why you should go out there to impact lives. And one thing you must know is you are not alive just for yourself. God did not create you just for yourself. So let's stop being selfish about it. Let's stop being ourselves. Me. Let's think about others. I do tell my parents, I do tell my friends that I am for many people. I'm not living for myself. I am living for others. There are a lot of people out there that are waiting for you to shine. There are a lot of people out there that are waiting for me to shine. If I have no reason to be successful, I have to be successful because of them, because of those people out there. They have so much. They have so much trust in me, and you also have a lot of people that have so much trust in you. So don't let them down. Just start from somewhere, and when you fall down, get up. The Bible said that the righteous man that he will fall 7 times but shall rise again. So whenever you fall down, get up, get up, and keep going. Pastor Chris will say something. He said, keep saying it and don't stop. Just keep saying it. So just keep starting, just keep moving. The most important thing is to move. That is just the most important thing. If if a car is moving and a bike is moving, in as much the bike is moving, the car might get there before the bike. But at the end of the day, it's not about how did you get there. If you use leg, if you use bike, if you use plane, the most important thing is getting to that place. So for example, they invited you to an event, and at the end of the day, you boarded a bike to that event. At the end of the day, somebody entered with first class. What the people are after is who is present in this event, who is present. So just keep moving, start, and after you might have started according to the sign theory, you harness. So try as much as possible your good side, those things that you can do with ease, do them, do them. The hard ones, you are going to do them later, but those ones that you are going to do with ease, make it known, make it big, do them. So do those ones, identify your niche and hold on to it. Identify those things that you are good on. Just like she said, don't be tossed by every wind. You see, this one is working. Wow, it's working for Mr. A doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's working for Mr. C doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So just know what works for you. Know what you are meant for. Know your message and hold on to it. and make sure you hold on to it. Don't let go. Sometimes it might not look very sweet. Sometimes it might not look very, very nice, but just hold on to who you are. You know who you are. God created you for a purpose. So just hold on to it. Hold on to it. Hold on to your purpose in life. And I bet you, in as much you are consistent in what you are doing, a day will come and you look back and you are going to be proud of yourself. And I'm going to tell yourself, yes, I made it. Yes, I did it. Wow. So aside identifying that network is very, very important. The greatest men on earth, the richest men on earth, the most successful men on earth, they did not achieve their success all alone. No, that is the difference between a poor man and a rich man, a successful man and a failure. That is their mentality. They want to do it all alone. Look at the most successful businesses. One man business cannot be the most successful. They are never the most successful. Maybe they can just be average and just be average. How do they do it? They do it teamwork, and it all starts from what? From networking. Network with people around you. And thank God for the global space. Thank God for the internet. With the internet, you can network with people around you. You can network with people that are over the continental space. The world is now like a room with the internet. So network with people, those people that you know are relevant to your field, those that are relevant to your field, network with them. Those people that you know that they can push you, just network with them. Over times I hear people say that if you don't, if you they make such statement as I'm going to anybody that misbehave, I'll kick you out of my life. I look at them and laugh because the truth is this: when it comes to life, you don't know who is going to be there with you tomorrow. So as much as you can, network with people. Keep as many friends that you as you can. I didn't say you should go to their house to eat. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just keeping them as friends, just friends, just to discuss. And lastly, express yourself. Express yourself. Show the world what you have. The little thing that you know, show it. If you know how to design, if it is just graphics, design it. Tell the world that you can design. Announce yourself. Announce yourself. Your bio, make your bio look beautiful. Write great things about yourself. You can't be saying, you cannot keep quiet about yourself. You can't keep quiet about the little things. You can't keep quiet about your little wins. Whenever you win, whenever you do something great, announce it, make it big. You spoke in an event. Tell people about it. Mention the event name. Yes, look at where I spoke. At so place. You write a book. Tell people about it. So announce your little win. Announce it. It is very, very important. It will help boost your identity, and it's people will recognize you the more, and they will. Let's check if our next speaker is ready for us, or I guess he's having a little glitch in network in connecting to us. Uh, uh, Mr. Precious, where are you? 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 Okay. As we are waiting for our speaker, as we are waiting for him, we don't know what the problem is right now. I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. Okay. 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 So don't forget to visit our website, our home, our visual home. Don't forget to do that. You have a lot of free stuff there that she has prepared them for you. She didn't prepare them for herself. She did them all for you to make sure that you shine. She wants you to shine. We want you to shine. I am successful. So he has not joined us yet. Okay. So I want to see young people succeed, and as much as I can at the little that I know, I will do my best. And I love seeing others that wants people to succeed. The likes of Miss Miss Clara, she is there. She wants to see you succeed. So don't let her down. Make sure you tell people about her, subscribe to her channel, visit her on YouTube, and we are going to tell you how to get our book. Okay, our speaker will soon join us for the last session. He will soon join us for the last session. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Wow. Hmm. He will soon join us. So we don't actually know what the problem could be. Don't know what the problem could be. Don't know what the problem could be. Don't know what the problem could be. That is that. As we are waiting for her, I'm gonna let's let's talk about some of the things that our speakers have spoken on. Now, when Cassandra David, when she was talking yesterday about talent for global relevance, she was talking about talent yesterday. It was an awesome section with her. And when she was talking about talent, she talked about combining it with skills, with your skills. It is very, very important. Now, if you are be following somebody like Dan Locke, you will understand that talent, skill set, they always beat talent. So, and there are some skills that you must learn. So, if you have talent, if you can sing, just imagine a singer. You cannot compare a talented singer with a trained singer. Yes, you are talented, but at the end of the day, there are some things that you don't know. So get yourself trained, get yourself equipped. So in as much um, you want to gain more recognition through storytelling, to be able to position yourself, to be able to tell more good stories about yourself, you have to be trained. You have to be trained, and that is where mentorship comes in. That's where mentorship comes in. Thank God for the online space. I bless God. I thank God for the online space. I thank God for COVID-19 that has opened the eyes of many people. Now, when it comes to learning, when it comes to mentorship in your own field of study, you can enter YouTube. If you don't have money to train with people, if you don't have money to train under uh, uh, under paid for like for paid ones, you can go to YouTube. There are some free works there, although you might be limited to some certain space, but get those free ones. And the most important thing, implement them. Whatever you are learning, implement them. Make sure you learn. I have learned a lot of things over this period of time with COVID-19. I have learned a lot of things. The problem has always been implementation. Why? Because I am implementing a lot. I am doing a lot. So I sometimes I have to learn to implement. So get yourself equipped digitally. Everything that you are doing, I do tell people, all your business, start moving them online. Start moving them online. Do the much that you can. Equip yourself so that you will have more story to tell about yourself. One of that is public speaking. We're talking about telling people about yourself. You are talking to people about speaking with yourself. But let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth. You are going to learn that the more. You are going to know more about that when you have the skill, when you have public speaking skill. For example, now you want to tell people about yourself. If you're a public speaker, it makes it very easy. So learn how to speak. Learn how to speak. I started speaking as a child in Baptist. I was in Baptist church.
that time, and then we have song beam. We have song beam class then, so we could actually that time they call us. Okay, uh, our guest is in the waiting room now. He's still having issues with his.
So with his network connection, I think with his sound, with the sound. So as we are talking, public speaking, know how to speak. I learned how to speak as a child. I was I was less than I can't remember. I can't remember them. There was a time they told us to recite. I did so much at home that day, you know, with so much joy within me. I was happy. I was reciting those memory verses at home. I did them with joy. Then when they called us out to come and recite the Bible, then it it was one of those experiences that I just don't want to remember. But sometimes I talk about it, and sometimes I remember them, and I laugh over it. What happened that day? I got to the stage and I could not, I could not say those things again. Like I forgot. I couldn't leave that place. I couldn't leave the stage. I was just there. Like, I others others left, but I was still there. Why? Because I was ashamed of myself. I just fucked up. That was when I was learning about. I was learning. I didn't know that gradually I was being trained to speak on public. So I was a child. I could face hundreds of people as a child in church then. So the church has helped me. I started from the church. That was until I entered school. When I entered school, even addressing people wasn't a challenge to me at all. It was not never a challenge. So public speaking is one of those things. Public speaking, and another thing that is very important is learning how to network with people. Now, if you don't know how to network with people, just go and join a network marketing company. Yes, just go and join one. You might not necessarily join them because of the money. Just join them to learn how they operate. If you can take the learning, if you can discipline yourself to take the lessons, if you can take the lessons, best way you know how to talk to people. You know how to present things to people. Just go, just learn from them. When you are done learning, you can leave them. When it comes to business, because I'm a student, sometimes they call me nursepreneur. Yes, I'm a nursing student. I'm still a student studying nursing in school, but I combine it with business. And my people they call me nursepreneur most times, and outside nursepreneur, some call me Mr. Influencer because of my influence and young people. So building storytelling is just so sweet. I love it. I love it. I don't really know what is keeping our last speaker. I don't know what is actually okay. So we are still talking about branding, talking about personal story or personal story. So these are the stories that when I remember them, I so much as I just laugh over them. But then it was not a jokey, like it wasn't a laughing stock. It was serious because one thing about me is I love doing things perfectly, and when I fuck up, it takes time. It takes time for me to adapt. Although it is both as a strength and as a weak point. As a strength in the sense that whenever I'm doing something, I want it to be perfect. But as a weak point in the sense that whenever it is not done perfectly, I get it weakens me. It weakens me. So that is the two-sided story about it. That is just that is about um talking about presenting yourself, about who you are. You know, sometimes when you watch people's um personal profile, when you watch their profile on social media, you see some funny pictures. Somebody they will snap that they will pull their shirt. Like Snapchat. See, there are some pictures that I look at this and I say, what is wrong with this one? Innocent. What are you telling people? Now, the first thing when you chat someone up on status, when you chat someone up on your status, when you chat someone up on your status, no, they will check your profile picture to actually know who they are speaking with. And sometimes when I chat with people and they look at my profile picture, I'll be hearing sir. I'll be like, this one doesn't really know. Wow. Why? Because of what he said. Over times I have met people and they will ask me, are you Peter? I'll say yes. Wow. You don't really look like the person I saw on your profile pic. Why? Because that was the first thing that they looked at. Immediately they spoke with me on social media. So that's the way I present myself. Even when someone call you, when you speak on phone, how do you speak? How do you address the person? I went to meet someone after we talked about a business deal, and when I got to that place, she just she wanted to bill me. I told her, see, hmm, but just know how the kind of money you call because currently I don't really have such kind of money. She just looked at me and said, but the person I spoke of who did not speak like the way you are speaking now. The person spoke like one big man. I looked at her and said, see, I'm a big man, no. You know, all those kind of so that is how you are presenting yourself. How do you present yourself? Brand yourself. How do you brand yourself? The story. What story? What will people tell about you? What kind of story do people tell about you? But mind you, when you're talking about stories about you, in as much you are doing your best to try to uh, build a brand for yourself, to try to help people up, to help people, there are still those that will not like what you are doing, whether you like it or not. And know one thing that you are not for everyone. You can never be for everyone. It is not possible. So there are those that doesn't like what you are doing, and there are those that are going to criticize you. There are those that will not tell you the truth. So why? But the truth is, why waste time on those people that are not ready to help you when you have people that are ready to help you? Why waste time on people that are not that are discouraging you, that are not motivating you when you have others that will motivate you? Why waste time? So just relax your mind. Okay, our guest is up now.
Um, Precious,
Uh,
Mr. Precious, welcome.
all right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly now.
Sorry for the delay. I was supposed to. I had a slide I prepared down for this last section. That's in my PC, but there are some issues, so I couldn't really log in with my laptop. I have to use my phone right here. So pardon me for that. All right. Hope we're set. Let's just move on directly. All right. So we'll be looking at a topic: how to thrive in spite of constant change. How to thrive in spite of constant change. Never look down on yourself. All circumstances, whether good or bad, are made to profit you. Never look down on yourself. All circumstances, whether good or bad, are made to profit you. So whatever situations you are going through right now, whatever condition, whatever status you are right now, whether you are in a good status, whether you are in a bad status, whether you are positively or you are negatively, never you look down on yourself. Whatever thing you are going through right now are all made to profit you. So the subject we're going to be looking at today, that's the topic we're going to be looking at today, that how to thrive in spite of constant change. There are some very I outlined some of the things that we're going to be looking at. Assuming the slide was here, we would have been seeing it, but I'm really sorry about that. We're going to be looking at the definition of some terms such as constant, change, and thrive. You know, a lot of us know what constant is. Is a normally popular English word. We know what change is. We know what thrive is, but we are still going to remind us, just like a little reminder of what these terms are in English word. So the second one we're going to be looking at, that's the outline, the lesson outline, the good news and the bad news. The third one, the simple secret of thriving, the courage to question your own fundamental value and belief. And seven fundamental principles of how to thrive in spite of constant change. So, lesson one, define the key components. Of course, the key components we have outlined that we're going to be defining, which is change, constant, and thrive. So, change means becoming someone or something different from the initial. Change means becoming someone or something different from the initial. I hope we got that. While constant refers to something that is consistently reoccurring over time. Constant refers to something that is consistently reoccurring over time. Thrive means to grow vigorously in success or be extremely profitable. I take that again. Thrive means to grow vigorously in success or be extremely profitable. So the second lesson is the good news and the bad news. The good news and the bad news. The only thing that is constant is change. And it is a popular saying. We normally say it that change is constant. Everybody in one way or the other has heard that statement in somewhere, that change is constant, change is constant. It's a saying made by a Greek philosopher called Heraclitus. A change is constant. Yes, change is constant, and that is the only thing that is constant. But the good news and the bad news is that change is not permanent. Change is not permanent. I know you will be wondering, what does change, what is it to be permanent? Why is change permanent? Why is it a good news? Why is it a bad news? Why is change being constant a bad news? Yeah, that is what our third lesson, lesson 3, tells us, that change, not that how is change not being permanent a bad news. Okay, I got the answer. Why change not being permanent is a bad news is because if the constant change affects you positively, it is not permanent. So let me explain a bit. So whatever situation you are going through right now, whether you are a rich man now, you are doing extremely well, you have you are able to meet your daily targets, you are able to set goals and meet your goals, you are doing extremely perfectly well. Now the thing is this, that it is not permanent, it's not a permanent condition. Things can happen. You can actually, the change that is the change that occurs rigorously, the change that, remember we said that change is something that happens, that there's a constant change. So whatever situation you are now, whether you're a rich man or anything entirely, it is not permanent. Something else can happen. You can fall back tomorrow, but that's actually not what we're praying for. You can be earning 1 million today and tomorrow you are earning 500,000. Although that is not our prayer, we don't pray for bad days, but of course it happens. Bad days happens. So that is why we need to guard our mindset, we need to guard our mentality. So when these things occur, that's why we need to know some of the principles, that that's why we need to know some of these things, some of the fundamental principles. We need to have them so that when these things occur, we should know what and what to do part time. So how is change not being permanent a good news? Remember we said that change occurs. It is a that change, the only thing that is constant is change. And remember we said that change is not permanent. Change is not permanent. So remember we said that change is not permanent. I know why I'm emphasizing on this, that change is not permanent, because, and then we said that previously we said that change is not permanent. Change is not being permanent a bad news. How is change not being permanent a bad news? And we try to explain how change not being permanent a bad news. And now we're asking another question: how is change not being permanent a good news? Well, change not being permanent a good news is because if the constant change affects you negatively, it is not permanent. So if whatever situations you are going through right now, whatever situations you are going through right now, and is negatively affecting you in one way or the other, now the good news is this: it is not permanent. There is room for you to upgrade. There is room for you to upgrade. It is not permanent. There is room for you to upgrade. Remember they said that the sky the sky is your limit. The sky is your limit, meaning you can go above, even above the sky itself. You can even go above the sky. So it is not permanent. Whatever situation you are facing right now, are you earning 200,000? There is room to earn for 300,000. Are you earning 300? There is room for you to earn for 400,000. Are you earning 500? There is room for you to earn 1 million. So it is not constant at all. So don't think that this, the thing we are going through right now, the particular thing we are going through right now. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So what is occurring now is the COVID-19 crisis. So a lot of business closed down. A lot of business, both locally and internationally, just closed down, and everybody was just like, "What will I do? What will I do?" So many things are going bad right now. Many things are going bad. Many things is actually going bad. So, but of course, COVID-19 is not going to stay here forever. it is not a permanent condition. Things are bound to change. So the COVID-19 is going to come to an end at a particular time. Of course, it came. So whatever is coming is going to go. Yes, it will go one day. So it is not permanent. Number 5, the fifth lesson. What is the simple secret of thriving? The simple, the simple and the only way you can thrive positively is when each of us has the courage to question our own fundamental value and belief, and then see to it that your actions lead to your best intentions. The simple secret and the only way you can thrive positively is when each of us has the courage to question our own fundamental value and belief, and then see to it that your actions lead to your best intentions, so you can be able to thrive. Of course, everybody wants to thrive amidst every situation, but this particular point is telling us that we can be only able to thrive if we have the courage to question our own fundamental value and belief. Your belief system, of course, has a way of affecting your actions, has a way of affecting you mentally. So until you have that courage to question that your belief system, to question those fundamental value, thriving is going to really, really be difficult. Of course, Dan Millian, Dan Millian said that the secret of thriving is to focus all your energy, not fighting the old, but on building the new. We have been made to believe some certain things, a lot of things we have been made to believe those things, but the million is telling us to focus our energy because we have an inner strength, we have strength in us. God has given us strength. For God has given us strength. So instead of focusing on fighting the old things, why not fight? Why not focus on building the new things? Why not focus on building new principles? Why not focus on building principles that actually work? Why not focus on setting up strategies that actually work? So these are the questions you need to ask yourself. You want courage to thrive, you want courage to enable you thrive amidst any conditions, whether positively or negatively. These are some of the simple questions you should ask yourself. 1, do I have the courage to ask myself the very honest questions? Do I have the courage to ask myself these very honest questions? Number 1, you have to be certain. You have to know. You have to ask yourself, do I really have this courage? Do I have this courage? The question starts from you as a person. Do I really have this courage? And second question, do I have the courage to give honest answers to those very questions? Of course, asking the questions is one. Then being able to give answers to those questions is another thing. So if you ask yourself these questions and you are not able to give honest reply to those questions, it doesn't make the whole thing, it doesn't boost your confidence, it doesn't give you that courage. Thirdly, do I have the courage to build models? There are some certain models that talented people, great people are set up both in the business industry, in education industry, name them, technology, whatever field at all that you belong, that you want to be, models has been set up. Then now the question you should ask, do you have this courage to build models? Do you have courage to build models for yourself? Do you have courage to adopt it? Now the fourth question says, do I have enough courage to build working strategies? Whatever thing we want to do in this life, whatever thing we intend doing, even as a businessman, you want to go into business, as an entrepreneur, you want to go into entrepreneurship, you must ask yourself this question: Do I have the courage to build working strategies, not just building strategies, but working strategies? The fifth one, do I have courage to adopt and implement those strategies? You have to be able to know whether you have enough courage to adopt and implement those, because there is one thing to build a strategy, there's another to build a working strategy, and there is another to adopt and implement those strategies. All these questions you should be able to ask yourself to question your fundamental value and belief system. Now we're going to be looking at 7 fundamental principles of how to thrive in spite of constant change. 7 fundamental principles of how to thrive in spite of constant change. One of it is become improved that your talent cannot be ignored. Yes, in this particular Mindshift Summit, one of the speakers talked about talent. He did excellently well on talent. So become improved that your talent cannot be ignored. Just yesterday in the second section, they taught us a lot about talent, how to build your talent, how to monetize your talent, how to be a brand with your talent, how to do many amazing things with your talent. And the second one is stop comparing yourself to other people. This is one thing that I see a lot of people do. Even me myself at a certain time back at a certain time, so many years ago, I used to compare myself with other people. And I know a lot of you out there, a lot of you viewing this teaching right now, and the ones that will view it later. I know you compare yourself to other people, you compare yourself to your friends, you compare yourself to your siblings, you compare yourself to your cousins, you compare yourself to a lot of people, and that is not the right thing to do. If you want to thrive in spite of constant change, you must stop comparing yourself to other people. Everybody works in his or her own time zone. So don't be dismayed at all. Don't get bothered. Don't be discouraged if you see your neighbor doing better than you. You see your neighbor doing the same thing you want to do. You see it, the same thing you want to do, and you feel doing it. You see your neighbor, you see your friend doing that same thing and excelling in it. Don't be discouraged. Just seek for possible ways you can improve yourself. That's where the first one is, improve that your talent cannot be ignored. Seek for possible ways to improve yourself. Comparing yourself can only discourage you. Comparing yourself can only limit your ability. So stop comparing yourself. Number 3 is take responsibility. You want to thrive in spite of constant change. You want to thrive in spite of COVID-19, in spite of any crisis at all that may come up now or in future. Take responsibility. Stop assuming. Assumption is never the way to go. Take responsibility. We have been made to believe these certain things that, you know, whatever thing that is happening is either we find a way to blame it on our parents, we find a way to blame it on the bad government, we find a way to blame it on we find ways to blame whatever we are going through. We find ways to put that blame on that particular thing. So but that's the wrong way to go. Take responsibility. Be responsible for whatever actions you take. Take responsibility. Be responsible for whatever actions you take. Be responsible for whatever decision you make. Be responsible for whatever thing you do in life. Try as much as possible to be responsible for them. When you take responsibility for things occurring and happening around you, it builds your confidence. It builds your confidence in a way. Yes, of course, yeah, it builds your confidence. It's something that have happened to me, and there are a lot of things that happen to me, and I don't find means to blame people for it. I don't blame my friend, even though at some time they could be at fault, even though at some time the thing happening could be. So I take maximum responsibility of that particular claim. I don't blame it on people. Fourthly, find a way to serve. This is one thing that plenty people have really overlooked. See, nothing can come to you if you don't serve. God does not bless people at their enjoying moments. God blesses you at your place of service. People pay you when you serve. God bless you when you serve. So just imagine your blessings come to you when God sees that you are diligently serving. He blesses you, and people are able to pay you for your service. You can't just sit at home. You can't just sit at home drinking tea, laughing, watching movies, and expect money to come to you. No, you must seek for possible ways to serve. That's the only way you can be paid. Service, being able to serve is being able to receive money. So if you are looking at receiving payments, then you should be looking at serving. So that's one point I want us to take note of. Find a way to serve. Then solve problems. That's the fifth one. Remember, we said 7 fundamental principles of how to thrive in spite of constant change. Find Okay, the fifth one, solve problems. You should be able to solve problems. There are a lot of problems out there, problems in your society, problems in your family, problems in your country, problems in your community. One way or the other, look around. There are problems everywhere. There are unemployment problem, educational problem, poverty, it is a problem. Technology, there's problems everywhere. There is problems, so you should look for problem. Identify one problem and try as much as possible to solve that problem. So when you are able to solve that problem, people pay you for getting solution to that problem. So that's just the simple secret. You want to thrive in spite of constant change, look for problem, identify one problem, and build yourself to be able to solve that problem. Look for means, look for ways, get skills, build your talents to be able to solve that problem. And when you are able to solve that problem, people that people that were not able to solve that problem, they are now going to pay you for solving that problem for them. That is it. The sixth one, always do the right thing. You can't get all these principles, all number 1 to number 5, and you're not doing the right thing. So if you are engaged in any illegal form or anything at all, make sure you are doing the right thing. That's what this number 6 is emphasizing, or do the right thing. The seventh one is surround yourself with great people. This is something we need to take to our mind. Surround yourself with great people. Just like the Bible told us that iron sharpeneth iron, so the countenance of a man against one another. So if you want to thrive in spite of constant change, make sure that you surround yourself with great people. Don't surround yourself with minds that are minimal. I don't mean to insult anybody, but there are some people in your environment, there are some people around you that can't just impact on you. That what all everything they have to impact to you, they are all negativity. So I'm sure you don't want to surround yourself with such people. You should be able to know when and how to meet with those people that does not have any value to add to you. So always surround yourself with great people. Keep great company. Keep great company. Surround yourself with great people. Control the phase. That's the ninth lesson. Control the phase. I know you asking yourself, what is control the phase? Yes, there are a lot of things that are beyond your control, but what you have control over is how you react to whatever happens in your life. There are a lot of things that has control over us, but how you react to them, how you react to them will determine whether it will have control over you. Death of a loved one has a negative thing against us. It could affect us negatively, of course. Not having money to cater for ourselves could affect us negatively. But how you allow those things to affect you will determine if they will have maximum control over yourself. That is what this lesson number 9 is emphasizing on. Control the phase. Make sure at any phase of life that you are in, make sure you gain control over that particular phase. You don't have money today, that doesn't mean you won't have money tomorrow. You don't have a particular skill today doesn't mean you won't have that skill tomorrow. So always have that ability, always have that strength, always have that courage to control whatever phase that you are in. Always have that wisdom, always have that sensibility, always be able to control a particular phase. So when you are able to do it, nothing has control over you. Things will find it difficult to control you when you're already adopting strategies to control them. So they are not going to control you because you already have ways to control them. Marilyn von Savon said something, said being defeated is often a temporary condition, but giving up is what makes it permanent. Of course, in one way or the other, we are always defeated. We face trials and temptations, just like emphasizing on the previous thing we said initially. Being defeated is only temporal. Whatever situations you are going through now is just temporal. Don't be bothered. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. It is just temporal. What makes it permanent is when you give up. So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Before I conclude, let's just, the whole essence of this summit, the theme, which is Mindshift Summit 2020, our first edition, is really, really awesome. It's really, we've had amazing speakers, even far beyond what I've said today. I just prepared some, a short slide to just find a way to contribute minimally to what other amazing speakers has been doing ever since the beginning of this summit. So I know you have, in one way or the other, you've learned something, even though it's something that you know before, but it has served as a reminder to you. It has served as a reminder. So these are something that we sat down, we decided to bring up this summit. Remember the theme, repositioning African mentality. When we were planning this summit, I had this, I thought about it. Let's just put it like African mentality. Africans have a lot of negative mentality. Even me too, I have some mentality. So we tried as much as possible, looking at different areas, different industry, different subjects. So that was why we brought in amazing speakers talking and touching different areas, because we want our mentality to be repositioned. We want our mentality to be repositioned. We want our mentality to be repositioned from our mindset, and not just repositioning it for local relevance, but repositioning it for global relevance. Everyone is looking at just not just dominating locally, but going global, making impact globally, dishing out our values, knowledge, and whatever we've got, our talent, dishing it out at a global level, being invited internationally to give out whatever talent, to showcase our talent, is what each and every one of us wants. So that is the whole essence of this summit, and I can confidently tell that I personally I have learned a lot. So I'm sure too that you particularly you have learned one thing, you have learned two, you have learned three, you have learned four things. And there's something else I need to tell you. The sponsors of this summit is Wisdom Class TV, and of course you can see it down below that the YouTube channel we are using to stream this event is a Wisdom Class TV. So do us well to go down and subscribe to that YouTube channel, and cases where we have wonderful summits, wonderful webinars, workshops, and master classes like this, you will be the first to get notifications about that and tune in right away. So thank you for staying tuned from the very first day, from the Wednesday, which is the 23rd of September. You have stayed. I know a lot of us are going to still watch it because there are live teachings. There are teachings that you can fall back to and get amazing lessons on. So thank you and thank you. Our moderator, we have some other things to say. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you all for supporting this summit. Thank you. A big shout out to all our speakers that came and did amazingly well. I thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, Peter Akpobowe.
Wow, what a great way of ending this summit. Changing in spite of challenging times.
Thriving in spite of constant change. Don't tell me you didn't tune in when the teaching was going on.
Okay. Striving in spite of constant change. Now, let me tell you what the great men, so many great men, they are made when the world is in tumult. When a lot of people are thinking this is a challenge, this is problem, those men, they are thinking of how to gain from it. So that is it. So challenges you should be one of those people that are um that see challenges as an advantage. Now, COVID-19 came. When COVID-19 came, a lot of people saw it as a disadvantage, and a lot of people are still seeing it as a disadvantage. But let me tell you the truth: the great men, they are seeing it as an advantage, and many people don't want it to stop. Go and ask Zoom CEO; he will tell you that he doesn't want COVID-19 to stop. In this COVID-19, Jeff Bezos made $12 billion in 24 hours. This COVID-19. So, in trying times, what do you see? That is the question right now. What do you see? I love what he said when he talked about responsibilities. See, I do tell people that my greatest testimony in life is that I wasn't given birth by rich parents. That is my greatest testimony in life. So when people are complaining, why is it that my parents are not rich? I am thanking God, yes, they are not rich. So what are you seeing in challenging times? What are you seeing? So when others are seeing advantage, when great men are seeing advantage, you are seeing disadvantage. Stop it. Stop it. I, I, what a wonderful way of ending it. What a wonderful way. Wow, what a wonderful way. So change is not constant, a good news and a bad news. And the thing is, I want you to go with the good news. In as much the bad news is very, very important, I want you to go with the good news. And the good news is that no matter what has happened before, you still have time. That phase of life has passed. So this is the right time. Now, do what you want to do now. If you haven't started before, in our previous session, that time has passed. This is another season now for you to start. Do it. Start now. Now is the time. Wow. So this summit is being sponsored by
Wisdom Class TV. Kindly subscribe to this channel so that you are going to be glued, you will be informed on subsequent sessions like this. Over time, we'll be bringing to you sessions like this, informative sessions like this. We want to try as much as we can to help as much people as we can in Africa. We want to push Africa forward. The change that we so much seek in Africa starts with both of us. It starts with you and me. So change yourself. I am changing myself. Why we change ourselves? I love you. We are all parts of God's family. We are all parts of Africa. Let's do great things together. Let's do amazing things together. Subscribe to our channels. If you have any questions to ask us, you can join our Telegram group. You can join our WhatsApp group. You can send us messages on Facebook, and we are going to respond to it. Thank you very much. That comes the end of Mindshift Summit 2020. Wow, we love you all. Without you, this summit would not have been possible. We made it for you because you are existing. That is why we made this summit. So want to say a big thank you to all our audience out there, and want to also say a big thank you to all our speakers out there for finding out time to interact, to teach the people what they have. We say a big thank you. I want to thank the sponsor of this program, Wisdom Class TV. They made everything that we needed. They provided everything. They made it possible. So we bless you and we say a goodbye. Bye bye to Mindshift Summit 2020, the first of its kind. Stay tuned for the next one that will be coming your way soon.